The prestigious Cannes Film Festival has announced that it is banning Netflix films from competing at May's event because the streaming giant won't be giving the pictures a theatrical release. There was a big controversy at last year's festival when 2 Netflix titles were allowed to compete for the Palme d'Or, despite the fact that they wouldn't end up being seen in cinemas. So, has Cannes made the right decision this time around? And how much of a threat is posed to traditional cinema by online providers like Netflix and Amazon? Well, joining us now, the film critic Siobhan Sinnott and the lecturer in film and TV studies, Dr. Rebecca Harrison. Thank you both for joining us. Siobhan, Cannes banning Netflix, is this a clash of the old and the new?
It certainly looks like a bit of old-fashioned snobbery on behalf of the Cannes Film Festival. Last year, they stopped women from wearing flat shoes. They wanted them to wear high-heeled shoes on the red carpet. This year, they said you can't take a selfie if you happen to see a star on the red carpet. Now, they don't want to have people like Netflix and Amazon competing for their precious Palme d'Or. It does seem a bit like cutting off their nose to spite their face, because what Netflix and Amazon tend to do is support sort of art house releases that are the food and drink for the Cannes Film Festival.
And Rebecca, there are very strict restrictions in France over film and culture generally.
Yes, yeah. So I think the situation is actually really complicated because on the one hand, there is a certain snobbery about this, and particularly when you have people like Steven Spielberg saying, these like Netflix films shouldn't be shown. They shouldn't be winning awards. It does feel like a kind of older white male club saying like this is who gets to come in, kind of gatekeeping. But at the same time, there are these the legislation that was brought in France in I think all the way back in 1993, so it is quite outdated, and it says that you can't show anything that's been streamed, or you can't stream things until something like 36 months. After theatrical distribution, which for Netflix is just not something that they can, that's not viable for them.
So how is this going to make any difference to Netflix?
I don't think it is. I mean, Netflix seemed pretty sanguine about it. Somebody had asked the Netflix boss if he'd be back at Cannes this year. And he went, I don't know. They don't really need Cannes. I mean, if they want to make a ballyhoo, they can go to the Cannes Film Festival, or they could, I don't know, wait a month and take, their new releases to the Edinburgh Film Festival, which has also shown Netflix and Amazon releases quite happily, with red carpet ballyhoo galore. And of course, one of the big releases that we're looking forward to is Outlaw King. A Netflix production directed by David Mackenzie, shot in Scotland, due to be released in November. And yes, okay, Edinburgh normally takes place in June, but that doesn't stop them having a red carpet premiere specially done for Netflix. And I wouldn't be surprised if Edinburgh welcomed it.
And is there concern in the broader cinema world, Rebecca, that these restrictions and the challenge from Netflix and Amazon, cinemas are going to lose?
I mean, I think that's a difficult question. I mean, what happens to the film industry generally? Who knows? In terms of festivals, it makes sense to me that they're going to try to kind of protect the idea of having a community and audience in a space coming together.
How important is that?
I mean, I think that's enormously important and has a completely different rationale than, say, Netflix, which is all about individualised viewing in a domestic space. So I actually don't think that there's really too much competition there.
I think really big films, the blockbuster films, they're not in danger from the likes of Netflix. But it's the mid-range ones, the ones that cost between 40 and 80. Those are the ones that Netflix are trying to court, that Amazon Prime, has been going after the likes of Woody Allen, the auteurs that the film festivals love so much. But the fact is that cinema audiences have been declining year on year. Cinema audiences have been moving away, particularly art house supporting audiences, and they prefer to watch things at home on their sofa.
And Netflix, we're focusing on Netflix. I think there's only about 10% take up in Scotland or the UK, but clearly in other territories it's far greater. What's their business model? How does it work?
No one entirely knows because they're so secretive about. I mean, we don't even have data on who watches what, which actually gives them an enormous amount of power over the people that are producing content for them. People don't know their own value. They can't say, actually, I would like to take my work elsewhere and have someone pay me more money for it, because they don't have any access to the information that would give them leverage to do that.
Yeah, streamers are both heroes and villains, I think, in this setup. They're showing films that might otherwise not get theatrical releases. But at the same time, you've got to think, Amazon used to just sell us books. Now it's selling us groceries, and now it's selling us films. It's going to be, in a couple of years, a $1 trillion business. It's going to be a really important conglomerate. And what we've heard about this week is, conglomerates that know our taste, that know, what we like to watch. They're worth watching, aren't they?
And that's maybe the thing with Netflix. There's so much content, and streamers generally. There is so much content that you often spend your time scrolling, trying to find what it is, not actually watching it.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the reasons why film festivals, why cinemas are going to retain their importance, because you could have things curated for you by an algorithm, or you could have content curated for you by people that understand taste in a slightly different way.
Are we going to see a completely different landscape? The death of cinema has been predicted by TV, by video. Is this just another similar warning?
It's an ongoing conversation, isn't it? What's going to replace cinemas? Cinemas themselves have been fighting back by giving us more luxurious seats, 4D seats that move around and puff smoke in your face and generally make you feel like you're in a car wash. And also luxury meals that you can eat rather like being at home watching a very big telly. So cinemas are very keen to sort of try and get the audiences back. I think they're winning that particular fight with blockbusters. But as far as the smaller films are concerned, I think that's where Netflix, that's where Amazon can really make inroads.
And there, I'm afraid we'll have to leave it. Siobhan, Rebecca, thank you both for joining us. Thank you. The time now for the latest news and sport from your part of Scotland.